Hey everybody, welcome back to another video, and this time I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. You must be wondering what's in my hands, and they are comic books. For those who don't know, I'm a nerd, and you should be reading comic books. Especially if you have a very short attention span like I do. I cannot read novels anymore. That ship has long gone. I can read graphic novels because they have pictures. And I'm very simple like that. But I love a good story, which, as you can see, I am in love with Ultimate Spider-Man. If you haven't been reading them, I'll give you a quick sum up video. This is what this video is going to be all about. We are 6 months in, as we are at issue 6, with issue 7 coming out very shortly. And I've been wanting to do this for quite some time about the comic universe, and I hope to do more of these, especially because I enjoy reading the comic books, especially the Ultimate Universe, because it spoiler around. Just stick around, and I'll tell you the whole story, or well, most of it. That you know. As I said before, we are going to be talking about the Ultimate Universe. I'm going to be starting off with the most easiest character, Ultimate Spider-Man, and his story thus far. The Ultimate Universe has not been touched in quite some time, and to give you a rough history, the MCU is actually has based a lot of its tropes and traits through the Ultimate Universe, especially with Stormbreaker predominantly being one of the aspects in the old Ultimate Universe, Miles Morales also being from the Ultimate Universe, and yeah, so there's a cavalcade of stories that we could really go into, but maybe leave that for another day. But the main point to take away is that the Ultimate Universe has not been touched in quite some time. And you know, it was for a multitude of reasons. It had to disappear due to the amount of worlds and universes that exist in the Marvel Universe itself. That being said, Jonathan Hickman has been given free reign, essentially, especially when it comes to Spider-Man, and it is some of the best storytelling I have seen in quite some time. Not describing some of the stories, I love Tom Taylor in all the DC universe stuff that he's writing, but we're talking about Marvel, so maybe he's my favorite Marvel writer so far. That being said, let's get stuck into it. We start off with Spider-Man, Peter Parker. He's not Spider-Man yet. Peter Parker is just an ordinary guy working for the Daily Bugle with a little bit of a twist. He is working with Ben Parker and Jonah Jameson. They are all with Ben Parker, essentially the owner or CEO of the Daily Bugle, and Jonah Jameson slightly behind him as well. Now, unfortunately, in this universe, Aunt May has tragically passed away due to a interesting accident, an act of terrorism, if you will. Hopefully, don't redact me, YouTube. This is just purely comic book based. Yeah, unfortunately, Tony Stark was labeled as a terrorist, and I don't want to use those words lightly, but you know, that's what they'd label him as in the comic sense. He blew up a building that involved a lot of people, especially Aunt May and some other very important people that you'll learn during the story if you do get to read these comic books. It takes on where Peter Parker, family man now, he's living his life, but something is not quite right. He's just missing a little bit of something, and he doesn't know what, and it's kind of eating him in the back of his mind. Later on, you do find that he's been given an item from Tony Stark himself. Now, this sort of leads into the thing of did Tony Stark really do what he did when he blew up the building, or was it someone more nefarious at play? He gives Peter an opportunity to say, hey, look, you were meant to be something else, maybe even more someone else. And if you take this opportunity, if you open this canister that he has, you will be given the destiny that you were meant to have. And he opens up that canister, and there you see a spider. essentially the spider that's going to bite him and give him his powers. At the end of the comic panel, you do see a dark spider suit getting right into the black spider suit. So he goes around from building to building, learning about his new given powers, what he can do with them, and yeah, just the cat, jumping from building to building, swinging high and low, and yeah, it's sort of a fantastic thing that he's sort of learning. Fortunately, in the midst of all this, he gets kind of busted by his daughter May Parker, and now she is involved in keeping his secret identity, and essentially gives him the idea, hang on, black makes you look kind of scary, especially to me. Let's maybe change up the color scheme. And later on, he develops red and giving him the old classic Spider-Man look. That being said, we also visit some other characters that come along into play, mainly Harry Osborn, who is now taking the mantle of, spoiler, Green Goblin. Unfortunately, same sort of tragedy happened. Norman Osborn was, I believe, is in the same building that an explosion happened, and sort of put him in the midst of. He now owns Oscorp and everything and its subsidiaries behind it, which also means he owns some of Stark as well. Stark maybe being a partnership with Oscorp. I didn't really get to read the full point of view because I'm just really excited about telling you guys, but you'll be able to find out if you do read Ultimate Spider-Man. See how much I'm promoting comic books. You look, sidetracked a little bit. Go support your local bookstores and your local comic book shops to get this sort of stuff. Yes, I understand that we're in a digital age, and I'm also part of this weird thing of like I put stuff digitally so people can watch it and maybe not have to get these things, but at the same time you should be doing it. If you like the videos enough, it should give you an insight that you should be reading this stuff or going and supporting your local businesses, because yeah, they're the ones that are bringing this stuff in, and I can't imagine my life without the physical copies of stuff. I know, don't get me wrong, I read digital too, but nothing beats getting the comic book and reading it firsthand. So, little message for the people. So yes, very sorry, but it needed to be said. Moving forward, yes, so Harry Osborn has taken the role of Green Goblin. He finds a lot of Stark tech, and which is what he makes his suit made out, makes his suit. And he's been given sort of a map into other pieces of technology that exist in the world that he needs to hunt down and take away from the general public or from nefarious criminals that have taken the technology. So that's essentially his story. He runs into Peter Parker as he's on the rooftops, and they sort of introduce themselves. Harry Osborn, Peter Parker. They met for the first time. They're not actually best friends like the other media of Spider-Man. Spoiler alert. MJ eventually finds out, especially in issue 6. The 6 month mark, issue 6, that Peter Parker has been dilly-dallying all across New York City. It essentially gives him the name Spider-Man. Spoiler alert, I mean, God forbid it was always going to happen. We're 6 months in and he was only just called Spider-Man now, and it was a great finish and a touch to the story. Now, there are a lot of mini things and little spoilers that I want to tell you about. Like, I'll give you one, that Ben Parker and Jonah Jameson walk out on the Daily Bugle because the Kingpin has decided that he wants to own the media. And now Ben Parker's like, I'm not having it. and Jonah Jameson follows suit, and then they start their own agency and their newspaper or their media outlet to say, we are not going to bend the knee to Wilson Fisk, and they're going to do their own thing. Now, they want to bring Peter on board, but Peter has a life, he has a family, he has 2 kids and a wife. How would he support something like that when, you know, they've just started their own business? There's no money coming in. So should Peter leave his job for something he believes in versus taking care of his family? And there's some of the questions that he brings to the Ultimate Universe and some in the comic books, and I really love those little tidbits of life, because it's a very hard decision. It comes down to how responsible are you, and what is your responsibility as an adult and looking after kids and a wife. So there's these little tidbits that make you really think, like, what would you do in this scenario? And maybe I should put the question to you guys. If you were Peter Parker in a situation where your media outlet was controlled by an overlord of crime, would you leave not knowing when your next paycheck's going to be, if it's going to come at all, or would you just try and suck it up and do the best you can with what you can until until it's time? Maybe you get until that day comes when you can leave. So yeah, I asked that question and put it in the comments below. So yes, go read Ultimate Spider-Man. If anything, especially if you are a Spider-Man fan, if you love comic books, I definitely recommend the Ultimate Universe. If you guys like this video, I'm going to be doing a recording of Ultimate Black Panther. That has been stellar so far. The Ultimates has just released its first issue, which I'll be doing a video on that too. So yes, go read the Ultimate Universe, written by Jonathan Hickman, styled by many others. It's different every time, so I can't say too many. I don't know many artists, and I'm very sorry. Okay, don't hate me for this. I will learn. But yes, that's all I can say. But as you can tell how giddy I am, because I'm very giddy, because it's my first time doing this for comic reviews, and I want to say that it's been a joyride for the past 6 months. I hopefully won't be doing it like, an update every 6 months. I maybe will hopefully be doing it once a month as new issues come about. But I thought the 6 month period was a great time to say there's enough story in there to go read it. It's an amazing piece. Black Panther is stellar. X-Men, I'm not the biggest fan of right now, but maybe that will turn things around. Who knows? So yes, that's my review on the Ultimate Universe and some tidbits and how we're started and how we're getting along to why we're here. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I know I've rambled a lot, and I hope you stuck around for this comic review. So stick around. I hope you watch more of the content. Like, share, subscribe, and all that jazz. I don't really say it too often because I don't want to seem like one of those guys that makes you want to force, the way into it. So if you do like it, please do comment, share, everything about that. So yes, I'll see you guys in the next one, and I hope you enjoyed this comic summary of Ultimate Spider-Man. Peace.